The Great Plains hold a secret. Miles and miles of unrelenting prairie suddenly give way to a tear in the featureless scenery, revealing a hidden landscape beneath, shaped and etched by water. Over the past tens of millions of years, layers of shale, claystone, volcanic ash, and sandstone were deposited. But more recently, the landscape has been steadily eroding, revealing these layers and giving us a glimpse back in time. During the summer, massive thunderstorms hammer the plains, and heavy rains carve deep furrows into the soft clay, carving the landscape into twisted sculptures of crumbling, colorfully cracked rock. I'm professional photographer Ian Plant, and I have the honor and privilege of working with some of the best photographers on the planet. And for the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be exploring the Badlands of the Dakotas, a barren, stark landscape that challenges even the best photographers. But it just so happens I am joined for the next 2 weeks with one of the best photographers I know, Joseph Rosbach. He is a fierce competitor who always brings his A game. Joe and I are going head-to-head, mano-a-mano, in an epic one-on-one photography showdown. We're going to be challenged by bad weather, heavy rains, and high winds, all in our quest to make the best photographs possible. 2 photographers, 2 weeks, 1 mission, to get the shot, no matter what.
Yo.
Hey, yo, where you at?
Hey, buddy, I am pretty much rolling up on you right now. I'm close to the park.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, I'll see you in a minute, man. Hey, man.
Hey, dude. So
good to see you.
Man.
What's up?
Boom.
All right,
How you been?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. A little tired, long drive, but I made it and feeling good. Glad to be here.
All right, well, are you ready to check out the park?
Dude, I am so ready. I just spent the last 40 hours driving. Let's freaking do this.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I'd love to show you around. Why don't we leave your car here? You can hop in my vehicle and we'll drive around a bit and I'll show you the sights.
Cool.
So yeah, man, these are the Badlands.
Yeah, it's been about 20 years since I've been here.
Yeah, you were here a long time ago.
When I first got into photography, I came out here on a summer trip, and this was one of the parks that I spent a couple days in back then, but it's been a very long time since I've been here. I'm looking forward to it.
So that was the film days, right?
Oh yeah, that was the film days.
Do you have any of those shots still?
I do. I have quite a few of those transparencies on file. None of them are any good though.
Well, hopefully you'll make up for that. God, I think of my film days as like wasted effort. Like every shot I took back then, almost without exception, I think I kept like 2 shots from my film days that I still have in my portfolio.
I mean, I like to keep them around just for for memorabilia at this point. Sometimes I pull them out and I'll put them on the light table just to take a stroll down memory lane and be like, wow, Joe, you really sucked back then. Not that you're much better now, but oh man, it's beautiful. So since you moved recently, when you moved out to Minneapolis, how many times have you had a chance to come out here and actually shoot?
Probably about a dozen times.
Really, that many?
Yeah, no, I love coming out here.
Wow, that's great. You're gonna have quite the advantage on me this week.
Well, come on, man. It's not a competition, right?
Well, and it's always a little bit of a competition. Ian Plant is going down this week. That is absolutely for sure. Now, I've heard people refer to Ian Plant as the Bobby Flay of landscape photography, but I'm here to tell you folks, I'm taking the Iron Chef down. I've been coming to the Badlands a lot over the past few years, and that's going to give me a bit of an advantage because, when it comes to photographic skill, Joe's raw talent is like here, and my raw talent is here. But the fact that I've been coming to the Badlands so often means that that's going to elevate me to here, which means I am going to beat Joe during these 2 weeks. There's just no way around it. It's math. I love coming out here. I've scouted out a lot of locations,
But, you know, the great thing about this place is that there's literally an infinite variety of compositions. So I've got some favorite places, but, you know, you just hike out there and within a few minutes, you're finding all sorts of cool stuff. I mean, every time I go out, I find something new.
Yeah, that's one of the things I remember about really liking about this park was its lack of iconic scenes.
Yeah.
And you can just kind of, which is great, because then you can just wander out and create your own images, you know what I mean? And I think that's one of the awesome things about this park.
Yeah, like, you know, none of these features really stand up more than 100 or 150 feet tall, and there isn't really any central icon. Like, it's not like Half Dome in Yosemite or Delicate Arch or something like that. And so, like, I see people taking photographs on the overlooks, but when I get into the backcountry, I never see other photographers. So it's really great to just come out here and make your own.
I feel like that can be said about most parks, right?
Yeah, right.
Especially here, though. Yeah, I can see that just looking out across the terrain. I can just wander back into these hills and come up with some really dope stuff, man.
Yeah, you've got all this soft bentonite clay here that erodes very easily in the water, and it just creates these channels and furrows, these erosion patterns in the hills. And so you have all these interesting lines and shapes that you can use in your compositions, and the colors are amazing. Like, you know, right now we're driving through the yellow mounds.
Yeah,
and
I remember this area.
Yeah, like yellow, and then you've got red, you've got pinks, blues, greens. I mean, you name it, it's there.
You know what I also really like about this park is the way that the prairie grass mixes in with the Badlands. I think that's just a really beautiful little accent.
Well, mid-May is the best time to be here for the prairie, because it's green right now.
It's greening up, right?
Yeah. It looks fantastic.
Yeah, it really does look nice right now.
Well, I'm looking forward to sharing this place with you. It's my favorite place, and I love photographing here. I mean, everywhere I go in the world is unique. There's like unique places and amazing places, but something about this place really speaks to me. So I'm hoping that it's going to speak to you the same way.
Well, you know what? We only got a couple hours till sunset, so let's go set up camp, and that way we can get out here and start scouting and get to work, man.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Awesome.
All right.
Let's do that. So I've been thinking about how I'm going to get some good shots here in the park, and I think a lot of it is going to depend on the kind of weather that I get over the course of my adventure here. It's a big, vast area, and other than the Badland formations, there isn't much else to shoot out here. And I'm going to have to work really, really hard this week to follow the right weather patterns around and put myself in the right place to get that dramatic light that I want that's going to change this from sort of monochromatic to magic.
Tonight, I'm taking Joe into one of my favorite places in the park. And the reason I love it so much is this. All of this beautiful red clay. There are multiple layers of red clay in this section of the park, and there are lots of really distinct erosion patterns to be found here. Plus, there are some really tall mounds. So it's pretty easy to come into this area and find a really good foreground leading to a dramatic background. So we're gonna go in and spend the next hour or so doing some exploring, and then we're gonna set up on our chosen compositions and hope for some good light at sunset. I've got a really nice composition set up here. There are these erosion lines going down this mound, and they're very distinct, and they're pointing from foreground to background, and they zigzag back and forth. And there are these two sweeping curves of white clay coming in on either side, left to right, giving this composition some really nice symmetry. So I think it's going to be really dramatic, but really what I need for this all to come together is some good light on the clouds that are going to be in the background. And that's completely up to the sun and the weather. So I'm set up. It's about an hour before sunset. I'm going to sit here and wait. Maybe I'll explore the area on foot. And when the light is right, I'm going to come back and hope for the best. All right, there's some light and color in the sky. It's time for me to get to work. And what I've done is I've set up my primary composition, and that's the one I'm going to hope is going to work out. But while I was waiting for the light to drop, I scouted out some other compositions. So if this one doesn't work, I can try the other ones. Actually, what I'm going to do is what I call working the scene. I'm going to go through these compositions, and when the light is best for this one, I'll shoot here. And if the light changes, I'll move on to one of the other compositions, and hopefully one of them will work out. I've just got a really nice shot here looking into the sunset, and now the clouds where my original composition was set up are beginning to light up, so I'm going to run back there and get that shot. The sky is just lighting up all over the place. This is absolutely beautiful. I'm going to get the shot that I want, plus a lot more. What a great evening.
That was an epic sunset, and it was a great shoot. And I got some shots that I'm really excited about. I hope Joe had some good luck as well, but right now it's time to head back to the car before it gets dark.
Well, it is, it's about 4:20 in the morning. I've been up for an hour. I've driven into the park, and I am literally in the most centrally located place in the park. And I'm sitting in my truck trying to decide where I should go this morning. I don't think anything is going to happen at sunrise. There are clouds in the sky, but it does seem to be pretty thick on the east. However, my Skyfire app, which has been pretty accurate this entire week as far as predicting underlighting in the clouds, is saying that there's going to be a big trough of color in the eastern part of the sky, stretching into the park, and even some color in the south. So I'm just sitting here and I'm watching the clouds, and I'm watching to see how the light develops. And when I do figure it out, I'm going to have to kind of either from this spot get out and hike very quickly into a location, or drive to another spot and walk in or hike in as quickly as I can. So, you know, this is sort of the game that we play as landscape photographers, that we you know, unfortunately we really do rely on getting that big light to make the kind of dramatic images that we want.
What an absolutely epic morning this is going to be. I got up at 3:30 a.m. and I could see even then a faint glow in the eastern sky. The eastern horizon was clear, just a sliver. The rest of the sky was covered with clouds. So I knew that at sunrise, all those clouds would light from beneath, and they would just light up with color, and all of that color would be reflected down into the landscape. So I came to a favorite composition of mine. I probably worked this area about a dozen times, and I've got a number of compositions here that I really, really like, but they've never quite come together. I've never had the perfect light. So I'm hoping that this morning I'm going to finally knock these out of the park, as they say. So I've come here, I've set up, and the eastern horizon is just glowing with color right now, and that color is beginning to work its way around to the clouds in the background, and all of that color is being bounced down onto the landscape, creating this beautiful glow. So the color is amazing. I've got a few comps that I'm just going to be cycling through one after another, and I'm hoping that finally I can lay this part of the park to rest and start working on some other compositions that I've been trying to get perfected over the past few years. I've been working the pre-dawn light. So there's no light on the landscape yet, but there's light hitting the clouds above me, and they're glowing pink, and they're bouncing some of that light down onto the landscape. So there's this soft, colorful glow on the sandstone formations. So I've been working that. It looks like that is just beginning to fade. And so in about 5 or 10 minutes, the sun is gonna rise, and I'm gonna get direct light on the landscape, and then I'm gonna start all over again. What an epic sunrise. I had some beautiful light in the clouds, bouncing down, reflecting onto the landscape below. I found some really nice compositions. I'm really happy with the shots that I got. The sun is rising, and there's some light on the background features now. I'm just waiting for the sun to get a little bit higher so that the light comes down lower, and then I'm gonna start shooting again. This has been an awesome morning. I'm so glad I got up early to come out here and shoot. The difference between a good photographer and a great photographer is the snooze button. If you want to make great shots, you've got to get up early. You've got to get up at 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, stumble around in the dark, go out there and make it happen. The best thing you can do is when you show up, don't just stand in the same place, don't just set up your camera at eye level and shoot. Try different positions, different angles, different heights until you find the composition that brings it all together.
All right, so I am back in Wall, South Dakota. It's a little town right outside of the park. And I didn't do any video this morning because the light was frankly too good to do any video. And I was running around like a maniac trying to find the best compositions as the light was changing. And it was really intense. The eastern sky was completely clear, and the light actually started to develop in the clouds almost an hour before sunrise. And luckily I got up at 3:30 this morning, so I was out there with plenty of time to hike around and explore some compositions up on the Door Trail, which is on the far eastern side of the park. And that's a location that just gets amazing light in the morning because you have a wide open prairie to the east, and anything that's coming up over the horizon or any light that's in the sky that's reflecting is going to bounce down on all these big Badland pinnacles in the background. Now normally that area is not that interesting. If you go there in the middle of the day, the Badlands are going to look rather unassuming in color, sort of a gray whitish tone. But it's sunrise when the light is going off, and this morning I had such intense light in the clouds that even 30 minutes before the sunrise there was all this mottled light, warm red light bouncing down and sort of hitting all the Badlands. I was able to find some really good foregrounds to work, and you know, the light this morning lasted for almost an hour and a half as it transitioned from that twilight pre-dawn glow in the sky to sunrise, and then to when the sun finally came over the horizon and started to blast the landscape with that beautiful first morning direct sunlight. And it was absolutely amazing. I can't wait for you guys to see these images.
Messy and a very messy dinner, sir.
Cheesy burgers.
Cheesy burgers are going to be delicious, baby. Cheesy delicious.
Well, I think we should have gotten bigger buns because this is barely going to cover the burger, but we can make it work. We can make it work.
So good. Right over there. So if we want light on these features, we're going to have to walk around. Walk the light.
Another day, more scouting.
Oh yeah. All right, well, I think I found a comp here. This is one of those areas where there are no iconic compositions. You can't pull into a parking lot and set up your tripod and take the shot. You got to get out, you got to walk around, and you got to really look for interesting landforms, and then more importantly, amazing foregrounds, good foregrounds that are going to move the eye into the scene and lead it into the background. So what I've done here is I've chosen this butte in the background because it's sort of separated from the rest of the landscape. So it has a lot of prominence. And right now there's some beautiful clouds kind of working through the sky. But what I really like about this scene is just the lines in the wash here, and the way that they're sort of all coming together and converging from the corners and moving the eye right back into that butte in the background. And I'm about 30, 40 minutes away from sunset right now. So what I'm hoping for is to get a little bit of light just hitting the side of that butte back there, that sandstone hill, or I'm sorry, that Badland hill in the background, and then maybe catch a little bit of color in the sky. Now the foreground is going to go into shade, so that's going to also pick up some of this blue that's above me. So hopefully what I'll have here is a mix of this cool foreground, cool toned foreground, and some warm colors in the sky, bringing together a really nice landscape image.
So I came out to the place that I scouted this afternoon, and the composition that I scouted, I decided wasn't quite going to work for me with the light that I have tonight. So I did some more scouting and I found another composition. This one has a better angle on the features in the background, so the light from the setting sun is directly striking it. And I've got these really interesting red striations here in the clay that I'm using as a leading line with a wide angle composition. So I've got a little bit of light breaking through. I've got some really cool clouds up there. So I'm hoping to get some light on the landscape, on those features back there with that radial pattern of clouds. And then after the sun sets, I'm hoping that these clouds are going to light up and the whole scene is going to glow with pink and red color. So I'm working the light now, and I'm going to keep on working the light as the sun sinks lower in the sky, and I'll keep going until twilight is over, and then I'll hike back to my car. That is pretty sweet. I just love the way the clouds radiate above that peak in the background. They're like little tendrils, fingers that are coming out from the center of the composition all the way to the edges and the corners. And so with these lines coming in from the bottom of the foreground and then the lines formed by the clouds coming in from the top, it's going to point the viewer's attention to that most important feature, which right now is getting some beautiful golden light on it. It's a very soft light, but I think it's very nice.
I've come out of the wash and up onto this hill of prairie grass, which is being beautifully illuminated by the setting sun in the background, and it's creating this really gorgeous warm color and different patterns of light in the foreground. And in the background I have that amazing butte that's sort of standing alone by itself out there and just looks so majestic and prominent. And luckily the sky is getting better because the clouds keep pushing in from the west, and they're pushing out across the east, and it's actually getting clearer in the west but getting cloudier in the east. And since I'm shooting with the sun to my shoulder and my back, the scene just keeps getting better and better. And I'm really excited about this shot. I think it has a lot of depth, and I think it really captures the beauty and the grandeur of shooting out here in the western prairie in these Badlands.
I like to keep working the composition I have as the light changes, because not only is the light getting different, but the clouds are moving, and so the shapes that they form are changing as well. I'm hoping to get that perfect moment where it all comes together.
So hopefully you guys can see, this is where my tripod is, and this is the scene that I'm shooting. And the light just keeps getting better. It was behind the clouds for a few moments, but I just the way that it's striking the grass in the foreground is creating this layered separation with that butte in the background. It's giving me this immense depth and immense color to the scene, and it's just really, really so lovely.
I absolutely love the Badlands. It's a crazy, chaotic environment, and it's really difficult to come out here and make effective photographs. And it's that challenge, I think, that draws me more than anything. I mean, I think this is a beautiful landscape. It just really speaks to me. And it is one of my favorite places in the world. And one thing I really love about it is that it doesn't have hordes of photographers. And certainly in the areas where I'm going, I'm not really that far away from the park road, usually no more than a mile or two, but that's all it takes to get away from people and to find spots that the vast majority of people aren't photographing. And I love coming out here and just trying to find a way to fit all of these random visual puzzle pieces together to form a meaningful and compelling photo composition, something that's going to tell the story of this place and that is going to have an impact on my viewers. And I got a pretty good shot tonight. I don't think that I'm going to get the light that I want. I'm not going to get that beautiful cloud light reflecting down onto the landscape, but it doesn't matter. I'm just enjoying the moment. I'm out here by myself. All I can hear are the birds and the crickets and the rustling of the wind through the prairie. It's a real peaceful moment, and I'm just going to enjoy it before I have to hike back to my vehicle. Something wicked this way comes. The first thunderstorm of the season. The Badlands positively come alive in stormlight. It's my favorite time to be out here, so the bigger the storm clouds, the better. In the summer, the Great Plains are notorious and infamous for their thunderstorms, so I'm real excited that the storms are coming in, and I'm hoping we'll get a lot of them in the last few days that we're here. Unfortunately, this storm is coming in at sunset, and it's blocking the light. We're hoping that maybe there a little bit of golden light will break through at the end. If not, maybe after twilight, we'll see some thunder and lightning in the distance. And in any event, the nights are very short, so with any luck, the remnants of the storm will still be around tomorrow morning for sunrise, and we'll get some great underlighting on the clouds.
There are some major thunderstorms passing through right now. There have been high winds, heavy rains, even hail at times, and the rain just keeps coming down. It won't stop. But the clouds are beginning to break up. There's a lot of texture and drama to the clouds right now. I mean, the sky looks amazing. And there are a few gaps on the western horizon. So it looks like there is some possibility of some light and color breaking through around sunset. But unfortunately, with all this rain, this clay landscape has become an impassable soupy mess. So the lighting opportunities might be good, but it's going to be really difficult for us to get anywhere where we can actually find a compelling composition. So I think that if we do get lucky and some light breaks through, we're still going to have a lot of challenges to make effective shots tonight.
All right, so I got the gear out there. Camera stood away, tripod is down. I got my comp and I am just waiting to see if the light breaks out. But I was getting pounded with rain and wind, and I had to just hike back to the truck. It's not far, it's about 100 yards, maybe not even 75 yards, just to grab a little shelter for a few minutes and see if this light breaks out. I'm watching the western horizon and there's definitely a gap out there. But these storms are just moving from the south to the north, and I think it's going to close it out. But man, if that sun could just get down in time, we're going to have a really, really dramatic layered telephoto landscape. So I'm hoping for that. By the way, this is when the magic happens, when the weather is absolute and total shite. This is when you need to be out shooting and not in your hotel room or in camp relaxing. You need to be as uncomfortable as you can possibly be. You need to be wet, you need to be muddy, cold, miserable, tired. That is when you are going to make the best photos. I guarantee you that, my friend. Get out there in the bad weather and get that light. I'm pretty sure when I go back out there, my gear is probably blown off the edge of the cliffs. It's way down in the Badlands, and I'm never gonna get it back. It's starting to break, folks. I think it is going to be spectacular. I'm gonna get this tonight. I've been working too goddamn hard to get blocked by some silly ass storm. I am on this. Rainbow! Rainbow! Light is out! Light is out! Oh, light is out!
This light is amazing, but unfortunately right now, the landscape is virtually impassable. When it rains hard here in the Badlands, all of this beautiful clay turns into thick, goopy mud. And you can't walk more than a few feet without having wet cement forming around your boots. It feels like you've got lead weights on your feet. So even though the light is amazing, we're gonna have a real challenge getting out there and finding good shots. But this sort of storm light is the best light you can get when you're shooting landscape photography. And that's why I'm always really excited when a storm is passing through around sunset or sunrise. And more often than not, you just get rained down and nothing good happens. But every now and then you get lucky and the storm breaks at exactly the right moment. And right now, the last light of the day is painting the sky with beautiful colors, and the clouds are acting like giant reflectors, bouncing that light down onto the landscape and giving everything a colorful glow. This is the kind of light that every landscape photographer dreams of. I want to give a special thanks to my sponsor Tamron for helping make these episodes possible. Tamron makes high-quality lenses for a variety of camera systems. Some of my very best photos were taken with Tamron. Coming up in the next episode of Shutter Monkeys TV.
On the hunt for something new, baby. I'm excited.
More ferocious storms, more heroic light, more crazy adventures, and Joe and I embark on an epic quest to photograph a stunning place we call the Maze. All coming soon in part 2 of our Badlands photo adventure. Stay tuned. Landscape photography isn't just about taking pictures of beautiful scenery. It's about telling the story of the landscape, and it's about telling your story as an artist. I'm professional photographer Ian Plant, and my courses are designed to give you the technical skills that you need to succeed and to help develop your own personal creative vision. So, are you ready to share your story with the world?